Happy New Year, people. Let's get going. Trying to get you on raised beds and no dig. It does work. I've done all the trial and errors. This is my old allotment. I was all raised beds. Any length. These were 26 foot long. Width-wise, 4 foot. Meaning you can reach the middle from either side without treading on it. It works. You only dig because you've compacted the soil, trod on it. Let the worms dig it for you. Work with nature. I've learned to work with nature because it will win every time. Right, this is my first allotment opposite the house. I put my best pot leeks out on the plot. Whatever size plot you have, if you got the bug, it ain't big enough. So I nicked some ground off the footpath, and this was my first raised bed. And the brew inside the raised bed was better than what was on the plot. So these pot leeks, which was the spares, the best ones will get planted out on the allotment, but these were superb. They overtook them on the plot because I got a good brew under the arras. So that thought, right, that's it, raised beds it is. I had to move plots, so first thing down there, old bits of timber or whatever, and once again 4 foot wide. If you see that bed 4 beds up, I've got Savoy cabbages. They were smacking into the sides of the netting, so those 4 foot round. That's what a good brew underneath will give you. The soil warms up quicker as well. You don't get so many weeds, or the only weeds I'm going to get are airborne. Because I'm not digging, I'm not bringing the dormant weed seeds to the surface. Right, let's pretend I've just picked my last cauliflower, and now I'm going to top dress it with my compost, garden compost or manure, both of which have got worms in. Spread that out. Right, good thing at health and safety, scaffolding boards. If they get a split in them, they call use them. Right, let's get in bed. I'm going to give this a good watering now. Look after them worms, you don't want them to dry out. I'm then going to cover it with a weed suppressant. Because you get the winds on the plot, I'm going to batten it all down. Plus it stops the foxes digging and all that crap. Right, back to the boards. Just Google it. Scaffolders near me. And then ring them all up and ask them for the cheapest board. We started off, I used to get them $8.50 a board. Obviously they've gone up by now. But I used to get this chap to give me 6 loads a year like he's done here. I was the first one to have raised beds on the allotment site. And within a year, a third of the site was all raised beds. And now, 2/3 of the site are raised beds. They work. Mate next door, he says, I've got raised beds. I says, no, you ain't. I'm still the same level as the ground. You ain't raised them yet. He says, oh. One disadvantage with raised beds, they dry out quicker. Just straw mulch them. Keeps the moisture in. Another natural product, and that works as well. Not so much watering. Right, bird's eye view, top left, that bit of circle there, that was a bit of ground I borrowed off the council a few years ago. I needed a challenge, so I did allotments for walking disabled and people with learning difficulties. I had 29 grand lottery funding money. It took me 2.5 years to do it. I enjoyed doing it, but I wouldn't do it again. Health and safety and red tape. What a load of crap. The one below it, which is that one there, that was my 1.5 plots. So from the top, I've got an orchard. Then I've got, I think, 7 raised beds down to the tunnel. That's a full plot. And then there's half a plot after the tunnel. So it's an orchard again. And then a couple more raised beds. Enjoyed it down there. I was chairman for Bloody Moons, but I was doing too much for them. Probably because I was retired. Right, looking after my boards. Some of the boards I was getting, that was in that good nick, and I thought, well, if these are completely dry, which they were, I was getting the black and white plastic. I thought I'm going to seal them. Then they're cold, go rotten. They're going to last bloody moons, and they did. I got a 28 here. Some of these boards have been in, and I'm still as solid as they in. And this is the black and white plastic. It's what the druggies use. You get it on eBay by the roll or by the meter, and just seal it. I used to get the black tape from Wilco. whether it's just one board eye, two, or whatever. Even one board's good enough. You don't need to have raised beds, just measure them out. You're still not going to walk on it, you're going to stay walking to the planks. Photo I took when I did the kids gardening club at the school, somebody said you shouldn't put the kids' photo on Facebook. So I took this photo for the next week. I says, right, I bloody soft. I got permission off the head, permission off the parents. That clears me. And, when I do my talks on compost with Q&A at the end, a couple of people says, well, we've got trees all around the garden, edges, shrubs, roots go everywhere. I said, just put raised beds on top. Oh, well. This is my mate Henry. He's in Manila in the Philippines. We've learned from each other, and you see he's got raised beds there, and he uses bamboo. He also top dresses. Obviously, same as us. He's a good lad. Known him for bloody moons. Nice one, Henry. Right, Mrs. gave me the back garden, luckily. So I'm all raised beds up there. Any bit of space I'm utilising. We had a dog 4 years ago, started digging the lawn up. I thought, you little bugger. Then the next day I thought, this is going to work to my advantage. So I said to the missus, get rid of the lawn, get AstroTurf. I ain't going to cut the grass anymore, plus I'll get a raised bed in the middle. She says, oh, go on then. Yes, that worked. Plus I can get loads of pots and tubs, and that's what we've done. That's my new raised beds. A raised bed ain't going to be a large raised bed. A pot is a raised bed. So even the wall coming out of the patio, there's blackberry going straight away up the top and all around there. Still got the 2 borders down the sides, that's for Alstroemeria and other things, canners, and I'm into canners now and all. That was after the first year with that new raised bed and the AstroTurf. But it works. Tunnel on the right hand side. Behind that screen on the left, I've got my greenhouse, then all raised beds again after that. So these are after the greenhouse. Raised beds working from waist height. You got to think when you get old, no less bending. So with these, everything, same as a pot, tub and a raised bed, they will drop down every year because of compaction from the rain. So this is the end of the season, obviously, and I'm top dressing with my compost. So it's just had a good watering, because I want the worms to take all that down, and they will do. Because of foxes, squirrels, and cats, got to cover that again. Even with just straw, I don't use weed suppressant anymore. I've got a contact for rabbit muck, and he has to get rid of it, so he drops it off of the house. He's a good lad, and that's all I'm using now. Rabbit muck with straw as a mulch, just to keep the warmth in and the moisture. Obviously that's breaking down. That little chap there is my kiwi fruit, but because I had a few frosts, I'm looking after him, on him to burn. Springtails, if you see these little chaps, they're goodies. They work with nature. I first saw these, I had them in my compost and in the garden. But once I found out that was goodies off a mate. This was a pot leek I grew in one of the raised beds, and that is black and white plastic, white side up, so the white repels the heat and light back onto the pot leek. And I saw these little chaps. I thought, bloody Nora, am I going to get rid of them? Rung my mate up, and he says, no, they're goodies if you got them in your compost or your soil. Goodies. Right, let's help you out a bit with the compost as well. If you don't make your own compost, that's kitchen and garden scraps, which I've cut up. The smaller you can get the ingredient, the quicker the breakdown. So once again, you're helping nature out. Something else is going in is your carbon. This is ripped up egg boxes, nothing coloured, nothing glossy. Shredded paperback books. Loo rolls, kitchen rolls, and in the top back I've got porridge, check porridge from Lidl. Worms love it. And on the right hand side, crushed eggs, dried eggshells, alfalfa pellets. All these lot underneath these different bags are bags of leaf mould, wood burner ash, straw, worm cast, wood chip, sand, sawdust, spent mushroom compost, spent tops, spent barley, spent peat, old grow bags, topsoil, molehills, seaweed, bracken, spent coffee grounds, different manures, horse, cow, sheep, goat, whatever muck it gets, alpaca, llama. That was a new one from last week, goat muck. So I bought that back as well. Obviously that was fresh, but don't matter. And I cut that up at scissors. I want that as small as the other ingredients as well. For another good one. Right, all that lot is put into one bag. I'm now going to upend that bag 4 or 5 times, just mixing everything up. I'm helping the worms out again. So all I've got to do now, because that's their feed, don't forget, is just eat away. Everything's chopped up for them and mixed for them. And there's loads of manure in. That's your activator. Right, I've just got one bin. I used to have 6 on the plot. This is a 330 litre black wool bin. It's also got a thick black plastic coat around him. If I get cold, I put a coat on. It's winter, so I put a coat on me as well. We had a -3 last night. And looking in there, that's what I want to see. You still see activity. Also, trial and error of theirs of the lid, and there's never any activity. Since I put a bit of carpet on the top, that keeps that, there's no cold void between the surface and the lid. And I've learned to put 3 lids in. So the first lid on the top is an old white bath towel. You can't get bits of carpet easily anymore, but anything, Hessian, sacking, anything like that. So I'm lifting that top towel off, and that's starting to break down already. I have to renew that soon. All I'm doing is shaking the worms onto the top one. That towel goes in the lid. I don't want to lose any worms. So I've got 3 carpets on altogether. So I'm just lifting the second one up, or 2 carpets should say, and there's worms in between them 2 as well. Because these are kept moist and it's warm, it is an ideal breeding ground for worms. So that one I'm shaking as well onto the next bit of carpet, and that one goes in the lid. Looking at these chaps, these are pot worms. If you see them or you've got them are goodies as well. Similar to worms, normal worms. But you don't want too many of the chaps. There's a good photo. Try it again, zoom. Now you can see springtails in there as well, very minute ones, but there's about 4 pot worms you can see. But the springtails just distribute the same as the pot worms, same as the normal worms. They're goodies. Right, that lot is shucked in. So there's the surface of my compost. Stuff was added to that 2 days ago, and I'm halfway through of yomping it all. So all them carpets are kept in my lid, and now my ingredients. My worms are what I collected out of the 3 carpets. Them are on the top one, ready to go back in. We'll first get the old so there's a bit of a close-up of the worms and the activity under the carpets, yomping away at me ingredients I put in a couple of days ago. That's just pulling the chunk out, having a quick nose, full of worms. That's what I want. Right, empty me chopped ingredients on the top. Don't forget this is dry, so we've got to look after that once it is. Once that goes in, that is levelled out evenly. And then the worms which I collected in between my carpets, them are picked up and spread out evenly on top of that. So there's my extra worms on top. All I've got to do now, this is not cold water, this is water out of the greenhouse, so it's greenhouse temperature. But this had no frost, it's at the warm end of the greenhouse. I don't want to give the worms a check. It's like me having I want a hot drink in winter, not bloody cold one. Give it a good soaking, then my carpets are going back on again. There's still worms in between the carpets, because I go through a thread or something. And if these start drying out, then water these as well. If you get too many pot worms or too many springtails, then just put a little covering of your wood burner ash. And that'll keep them at bay, or put some more carbon in. Your bath towel, I've got to renew that soon. There's a couple of holes in, but that's a good one. Works out good. That did need a bit of weight on the top, and the second carpet was also getting a bit dry, so I'll give them a nice watering as well. Just look after the chaps, and the worms will stay there and do what they're going to do. Right, lid back on. It does work. Right, back in the greenhouse. Just protecting different things. Got a bit of extra foam. Right, end of the greenhouse. That's the only... I've got eating up there, luckily. And a kettle. So in that end, I've got all my citrus fruit. Plus a couple of spares. Obviously a bucket of room temperature. Which up this end of the greenhouse, there's me guys there. And he's kept at 50 minimum, or 10 in funny money. Which is ideal for me. It's just ticking over nicely. That'll do me. And then this is the cold end of the greenhouse. I've got a little door I've made. I'll just wedge that on with a cane that holds that in place. So it's just that end, the seated. This end is kept down to about 0. There's the temperature up that end. But my canner's mainly up this end. I'm going to have no heat. And that was just below 0 he went. I think that was after a -4. So I'm getting away with it that end as well. My tunnel in the end, I've got a giant Cape Gooseberry at the end. And I usually take him out, but I thought I'll leave him. If you can do it with a fuchsia and stuff like this, overwinter him, look after him. 2 grapevines either side of him at the back. Goji berry, honeyberry. Right, something I'm doing this year. This is a new show, as you can see. 16/7. Well, it's a 3-day event in. It's near Leicester. This is in August. They've asked me to talk for them, or I've asked them. This is, we would love you to talk. So I'm talking on the Saturday and the Sunday. That's on the morning and on the afternoon. But it'll be advertised. Start advertising soon. But if you live near to it, but I'm talking on composting, raised beds, no dig, soil food web, mycorrhizal fungi and leaf mould. Just come along and say I do, learn something, and buy me book if you're interested. Right, that's it people. Hope you've enjoyed it and learned something. Cheers.